You know that feeling when you're in a relationship, standing at a crossroads, you love the person, you really do, but you just can't seem to get on the same page. Well, this is a story about that exact moment. It's for anyone who's ever wondered if love is really worth the fight.
Okay, let's just sit with this for a second. This is the sentence that changes everything. It's not an ultimatum, it's not some kind of threat. It's a raw, vulnerable signal that gets sent up when all the other ways of communicating have just failed. It's one partner basically saying, look, I'm showing you my heart. Your next move, it's gonna tell me everything I need to know.
And yeah, that's the big question we're exploring here. We're gonna walk you through the story of two people who are so fundamentally different, it honestly feels like they're speaking two completely different languages. They've hit the edge, and now they've got a choice to make.
So, let's meet them. We're gonna call her the Explorer, and him the Anchor. And these aren't just cute nicknames, you know? They're basically a map to their inner worlds, to the very core of who they are and how they see everything.
So you've got the Explorer. She is just all creative energy and emotional spontaneity. She sees this world of endless possibilities, and she operates from this deep internal moral compass. She's also super sensitive to stress and the whole emotional vibe around her. And then you have the Anchor. He is built on a foundation of structured logic. He is a pragmatic thinker who needs a plan. He's decisive, he's emotionally solid, a truly steady force when things get chaotic. You can already feel the contrast, right? Her world is fluid and full of feeling. His is built on stability and order.
And right here, this is where the trouble really starts. I mean, when two people are wired this differently, their core operating systems were basically guaranteed to clash. What feels totally natural to one feels completely alien and wrong to the other. Let's take a look at how this all played out in their biggest fights.
Okay, so first up, you have this classic battle, spontaneity versus structure. For her, his constant need for plans feels totally suffocating, like he's micromanaging her and doesn't trust her judgment. So what does she do? She rebels. But from his point of view, her spontaneity isn't freedom, it's just chaos. When she changes plans at the last minute, he feels like she has zero respect for his time. So he doubles down, he tries to control things even more, feeling like if he doesn't, the whole thing will just fall apart. And then, oh boy, there's how they handle stress. When things get tough, her emotions just shoot from 0 to 60. She needs to feel it all, out loud. But his assertive side, it kicks right in. He stays calm, cool, collected. Now you'd think that would help, right? Nope, it's explosive. He thinks he's being the steady ship in the storm, but to her, his calm feels like a total dismissal, like he doesn't care. Which of course only makes her ramp up her emotions even more, just desperately trying to feel seen.
So here's what's so fascinating, and honestly kind of scary about this cycle. There's this researcher, John Gottman, who discovered what he calls the magic ratio. He found that stable, happy couples have at least 5 positive interactions for every single -1, 5 to 1.
And that's the thing, that's the whole point. For our Explorer and Anchor, these constant, unresolved fights were tipping that scale way in the wrong direction. Every single argument, every misunderstanding was like a little crack in their foundation, just slowly eroding all the trust and goodwill they had ever built.
But then, everything just shifted. The loud fighting stopped, and in that quiet, a totally different kind of message was sent. It was vulnerable, it was honest, and it marked a huge turning point. See, for him, he'd carried this fear of abandonment his whole life. And it wasn't from being hated, it was from something so much colder, indifference. And this quote just nails that feeling. Indifference doesn't just hurt you, it erases you. And when all the fighting stopped and was replaced by that deafening silence, that old wound was hit hard.
And for her, it was never about him needing to fix her problems or solve her emotions. Her core need was so much simpler and way deeper than that. She just needed a safe place to be vulnerable, to be messy, to just be human, without being afraid that love would pull away.
And this part is so important to understand. She had never really had the luxury of emotional safety in her past. So when she would pull away and go quiet, it wasn't a punishment, it wasn't a lack of interest, it was pure self-protection, a defense mechanism she'd built to keep herself safe when things felt unsteady.
And his plea, from his side of things, was really about this. It wasn't about winning an argument or forcing some kind of decision. It was about creating a whole new dynamic, one that wasn't built on one person leading and the other following, but on a shared effort, a mutual curiosity,
and a space where both of them could finally, truly be seen and heard.
And this was the big aha moment for both of them. They stopped seeing their differences as these massive roadblocks and started looking for a way to actually build a bridge between their two very different worlds.
They found their answer in this one really powerful idea: complementarity. And the concept is simple, but it's totally revolutionary. It's this: what if your differences aren't a bug, but a feature? What if, when you handle them with respect, your opposing traits can become your greatest strengths, filling in each other's gaps like perfect puzzle pieces?
I mean, just look at how this completely flips the script on everything. Her spontaneity versus his structure, that becomes visionary ideas that actually get done. Her emotion versus his logic, that's empathetic decisions backed up by a solid strategy. Her emotional intensity is no longer a problem, it's an early alert system. And his calm isn't dismissive anymore, it's stable crisis management. Together, they are just so much stronger.
Okay, so that's the story, that's the big idea. But you're probably wondering, how do you actually do this, right? Let's get practical. Think of this next part as a kind of emotional first aid kit for your own relationship.
So here are 4 super simple but game-changing house rules for a fair fight. Number 1, either person can call a timeout. Just pause the conversation for 20 minutes if you feel overwhelmed. 2, attack the problem, not the person. Use I feel statements like I feel hurt when instead of you always do this. 3, assume good intent. Start from the belief that your partner is not your enemy. And 4, commit to a repair. Within 24 hours of a fight, somebody has to make a move to reconnect, even if it's just, hey, I'm sorry for my tone.
So, with this totally new way of looking at things and with these new tools in their pocket, the explorer and the anchor started building something new. Not by erasing who they were, but by honoring it.
And this, right here, is the absolute key. They didn't just tolerate each other's differences anymore, they learned to leverage them. They became a true power couple, combining her incredible, boundless creativity with his rock-solid stability. They finally saw each other's opposing traits as a source of strength, not conflict.
And the result? By leaning into what made them different, not running from it, they built a partnership that was more resilient, more balanced, and way more capable than either one of them could have ever been alone. They didn't just save their relationship, they built a brand new one, stronger than it ever was before.
And that kind of leaves us all with a final question to chew on, doesn't it? We so often look for people who are just like us, but maybe, just maybe, the greatest opportunity for our own growth lies with the people who are the most different. So what opposite in your own life, your partner, your colleague, your friend, could actually be your greatest ally?